Three, two, one, and welcome back to That Karate Podcast. What episode is it now? Is it episode 4? We're still here. Right, episode 4 of That Karate Podcast, and today we're sponsored by Winning Post Trophies. Josh and the boys over there very kindly sponsoring us for this. Today's presenters, as always, are Sean McLaren.
Hello, how are you doing?
And Mark Slattery.
Hello. I'm still laughing at what you said.
The last few weeks, Mark has let us down with the intros. All right, we had a stern conversation with Mark beforehand about behaving himself, and he's not happy.
You never even. We were chatting before this started, and never even gave us a minute to compose ourselves.
What? Why? Because we're that professional.
Yeah,
that's how we are. Today's episode. Later on, we have an interview with Alan Cambell Sensei of JKS England. It was nice to get a chat to him, wasn't it? Nice guy, interesting guy to chat to. Again, one of these people that doesn't seek the limelight, so it's nice to kind of chat to people like that. And I think I refer to him as the engine room, which may get me punished at some part. It was meant as a compliment, but I hope that's how it came across. But I think I'll probably get yacked for that at some point. So that's later on in the episode. Today we're all back teaching, lads. We're all back at it.
and
Yeah. So how have you found it, Sean?
To me, yeah. So this is our second week back indoors. I know, Mark down south, you've been in for a couple of weeks before us. So yeah, students are loving it. It's good to do face to face again indoors. That is. We have been doing my guys were doing outdoors for a little while before that. So it was obviously we had that face to face outdoors, but being in Scotland, it's not exactly fun teaching in the rain. So yeah, it's been good to be back indoors and seeing a lot of students come back again. It's been fun. I've really enjoyed it. What about yourself, Liam? How have you kind of found it?
It's been good. It's been good. The real challenge is getting the numbers in, isn't it? And because obviously you've got restricted numbers because of COVID compliance. So I have a waiting list I actually don't want to say the number because it sounds like I'm trying to show off. It's not like that. I'd love to take them all in. The waiting list is huge. To people join the club, but it's challenging as well, though, isn't it? Mark, you're obviously a vet at this now. You're several weeks ahead of us. Have you found it? How are you adapting?
I've enjoyed it. Yeah, it's really good. It's good to have. As you said, Sean, enjoyed it. Yeah. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Yeah, it's good to have everyone back. Well, come on, lads. Now, let's be serious.
That's proper English.
Listen, obviously, I'm Scottish. It's obviously an English thing. Sorry, we don't have an extra.
Yeah, so it's been really good. Yeah, it's really good. It's good to have everyone back, and well, I say everyone, my under 18s. What I've definitely noticed, the club's definitely a lot more popular. As you were saying earlier, and I've got a massive waiting list. I'm just getting the trialists in and putting them in this hour, but it's just with the COVID guidelines, you can only have a certain amount in the session. So that's a bit frustrating, but I'm just a couple of weeks away now from getting my over 18. So again, it's all positive. What about yourself?
I'm saying, yeah. I mean, there seems to be, and you don't like to be positive, do you? Because we've had our hearts broken several times in the last year, haven't we? Certainly us up north. But I think the end of June we might get some sort of normal. I think if they drop the social distancing, we just get back to teaching. Yeah. Just get back to it. And our numbers. I mean, again, if you're, I can't wait for that. At the moment, it's quite awkward juggling it. You know, if a kid didn't turn up for class before, it was never an issue. But when a kid was booked a session, doesn't turn up now, it stops somebody else getting a class, and it's a whole thing. And yeah, it's challenging, but I'm quietly confident I don't want to say it. We're on their way out of this nonsense.
Yeah. Can I just touch on that there, Liam? Sorry, it's just the opposite. I've had a few show up and then they thought they've booked in, but they booked into like a different class, and you're like, oh. Luckily the numbers weren't maxed out. I did have a couple of spaces, so yeah, it's, as you say, juggling, and I don't know if you guys feel the same, but I feel very, very conscious of making sure that everything is correct. You know, before you just come and start your class and teach and go home. Now, obviously, in between classes, you're cleaning equipment or cleaning the area. You've got to obviously make sure masks on and sanitize, and it's it's obviously a lot more kind of prep and work now than it was previously. I don't know if you guys are the kind of same, you know.
Yeah, definitely got to get there earlier.
Yeah.
Set the hall up, and then definitely I'm getting home about 9:30, and then having to eat like a pizza out of the fridge or something like that. Yeah, it's not the one.
I do not know how you're so skinny. I honestly, every time we speak, we chat or we video chat, honestly, Mark is shoveling a kebab down his face. Because I don't know, and he's built like a whippet. I don't understand how it's possible. I look at a loaf of bread and I put on 2 kilos. It's just jealousy. This is just a jealous rant here, folks. I'm sorry you've been dragged into this.
It's a salad kebab. That's what it is. It's a salad kebab. It's got
the salad. Is it a chicken kebab or is it
it's grilled chicken, so it's technically healthy, isn't it?
Technically.
There was no green in that kebab at all.
There was nothing. That I'd never seen a vegetable.
I've got one coming later, actually, kebab. So,
what, a vegetable or a kebab?
It's a salad kebab. I'm going to enjoy it.
So we're not going to ask you if I'm just making it clear here as we develop this channel and we bring in coaches for advice. We're not going to ask you to deliver the nutrition advice, Mark. It's just the point we wanted to put across right now.
No, I want to ask him nutrition advice because he's eating.
Well, maybe Turkish Delight Kebabs could sponsor the next one. I'll ask him when they deliver it later on.
I want nutrition advice from him. If he's eating all the kebabs and pizzas and still in better shape than us both, then
at least Josh's guys like supply medals across the UK and Europe. I don't know, is your guy going to send kebabs up to Scotland?
Mate.
I just opening a box up.
I'll ask him when he turns up. Later on.
Right, so here I've got a wee question that's off the top of my head here. We're kind of winging it today, guys. We didn't want to structure today. We just wanted to kind of have a wee chat.
Yeah.
How are you finding teaching, as in how structured are you in your classes just now? Are you going with a definitive class plan, or are you what I would call winging it? Are you going in with an idea, or are you winging it? Now you have to structure it more now because of the COVID compliance. How are you doing it?
Do you want to go first this one, Mark, or you want to shake it?
No, you go first. You look like you got something to say.
Yeah, for me, I write a class plan for every single class, to be honest. Not like a full minute by minute class plan, but more of a kind of theme and a structure. Otherwise, for me, I go off in a tangent, and it's not even, by the time I finish the class, it's not even close to the thing that I started with. You know, so for me, I always write a class plan every class. I've got them on my phone and notes in every class. There is a couple of classes that I don't. Maybe I'm just kind of following on from the last class, for example. If I've got like an all grades and advanced, I just kind of follow that on into the advanced class sometimes. But I need to. I feel as if I need to have some sort of structure. And I think the good thing about having the booking in now is you can see kind of which students are going to be at that class for it, to be honest, and you can kind of if I know that I'm going to have a higher grade class, then I'll structure my class towards the higher grades. Or if I've got a lot of white belts coming in, a lot of trialists have just kind of signed up there, so I've got my classes are pretty white belt heavy at the moment, the all grades class anyway. So yeah, I've kind of structured that to learning the basics, the first kata, or kind of introducing it into sparring and stuff. So yeah, I need to myself have a class plan. Now, what about you, Mark?
Well, you're definitely a lot more professional than me. I'm just winging it at the minute.
I wouldn't call it.
I'm just every session just winging it. I think I've always been at the beginning when I first started teaching. Yeah, I would have a bit of paper and I'll try and keep it or some sort of something in my head of how you keep your session. But I'm just winging it every lesson. I'm just so conscious about making sure the numbers and everything like that at the beginning, and speaking to different parents outside, obviously socially distanced, speaking to them outside, I'm just winging it every session, and but I'm loving it. If I have to ever do another online session again, I just think, no, I don't know. Sure, Liam, what about you?
I've got an online session at 6:30 tonight, so I don't mind doing it.
Sorry, I'm going to cut in there, Liam. Sorry. We obviously had Alan Sensei the other day, and I did ask him if he could spotlight you on the online session. Did he stick to that, or?
Yes, he did.
Can we post that video of what he said?
Thankfully, he didn't record it. Wouldn't mind, but it was towards the end of the session when I was blowing bubbles. So it was the kicking bit. The one thing I can do is kick. So he waited till the kicking bit, so I didn't look like I'd been thrown out a window. But yeah, it was. Yeah, thanks for that, boys. Appreciated that.
You're welcome.
He coached me the week before.
Thank you, Ali Sensei.
Sweating buckets, just doing the community drills. He goes, "You're famous, Liam Sensei," and I was like, "Oh my god, you're joking!" Of course, I was flagging at that point because as soon as you're on the telly, you have to then increase it. So did the best I could. But no, I always try to have a theme for the class. I try to have an idea for the class, and then I go in, and then I realise either I'm not a good enough coach, I'm not getting it, so then I have to reverse engineer it, or. But yeah, usually it's we're up to we're hitting the grading cycles. Obviously, we do a lot of syllabus work. We kind of crack through that as well. But
I disagree with that, mate. Sorry. I have been lucky enough to have been assisting or teaching with you. You do not have a class plan or a theme.
I have an idea of what I'm going to teach
in your head, but it's also nice to share with the ones that are teaching with you.
I've always got an idea.
Yeah, I'd said I've been lucky enough to kind of teach with you or assist you.
Yeah, like the way you use the word lucky.
I think, when I went to see you a couple of years ago up in Scotland, actually the last time I saw you both face to face, Liam, you did take a class. I was, you were teaching the class, and I think you did have an agenda just to kill me. I think you just stood at the front and just watched me doing them lunging squats with Maya Gary's.
That wasn't an agenda. That was, to be honest, the other two lads that came that day to train, never saw them again. I don't know why. They never came back. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why. No, I do. I always try and have a structure and idea what I'm teaching. But you've also, as you say, sometimes difficult to come in with a structured plan and you're going to teach this because you don't always know the class you're facing sometimes. As you say, Sean, it's maybe a bit better now that it is actually booked. You get a rough idea of who you've got, but it's when you're lucky enough to have kind of a decent sized club, it's making sure when you're often just a one-man band, it's difficult to make sure you're hitting all the right notes, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they kind of brown. So I'm teaching my advanced class, for instance. So I'm maybe get brown belts at the back who are just venturing into the advanced class, making sure they're getting their syllabus work and they're moving up, and making sure you're kind of more. I don't say it like the word tilt, but you're kind of elite competition guys at the front. They're getting what they need as well. This thing I never had to used to deal with when I was younger, this kind of split between kata and committee. You're trying to make sure the committee athletes are getting something, the kata athletes are getting something, the guy at the back's getting. So it's quite difficult to kind of structure a class. So yeah, but I do honestly tend to have. I know a skill set that I'm always trying to build going in. I always understand the skill set that I'm looking for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's. Sorry.
I
think it's nice to get back as well, actually teaching katas. I mean, with the online stuff, I mean, some katas I wouldn't even attempt to teach, like Unsu. I mean, for those who don't know it, I mean, or the bigger katas, they're a bit. Oh, sure. They're just too tricky to teach because everyone's in a different setting. So it's just nice to get back and be able to stand at the front and do them katas and
I think with the advanced katas it was difficult to teach unless everybody knew the kata. So if your people knew the katas specifically, then you were okay. But again, that kind of brown belt first dan level, I'm a bit old school. I don't tend to teach very advanced katas. But kind of for even first dan level, I know it's maybe not the way anymore. When I was I got my first time, and you like 4 advanced katas, and that was it. Whereas now, I wasn't doing unsu at Shodan. Can't do unsu now at 5th dan, but it's so much different now. So unless they all know the kata, I found it quite difficult to get it across. So I maybe do a specific day where we were doing this kata. I spent a 6-week program teaching unsu, ironically. So though, I literally approached it as you were a beginner to that kata and broke it right down. So yeah, it was really difficult online, but it's nice to have them. I'm still finding my feet up here. I mean, last week was weird having people like in front of me, in the room with me. How do you find it, Sean?
Yeah, so I was kind of lucky. My guys supported my outdoor classes very well. I was really busy and I got a lot of kind of trialists and intake for the outdoors. So with regards to kind of face-to-face, it was okay going back indoors. But obviously outdoors, you were limited, but it was less, or sorry, you're allowed more people outdoors than you were indoors. So now that we're indoors, there's less people in a kind of more focused class. So, but yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it being back. It feels, being outdoors, obviously, as I said, it was still teaching face-to-face. It was great, but being back indoors, it feels that sense of normality again.
It's dry. That's what we're Scottish. It's dry every time. I think I managed to get half a dozen outdoor classes going in the entire time we were allowed to do it. And did you see the video almost get struck by lightning?
Yeah, that was last year's one. Yeah, that was
actually, it's horrific. The weather forecast was for nice weather that day. Of course, we're in Scotland, so we get 4 seasons in 20 minutes. But we got the punch bags out. I'd laid, because obviously we make sure they've all socially distanced. I've got spare mats upstairs I was using outside in our car park area. So I had the mats out, filled the bags, and then all holy hell broke loose. Ross Sensei was with me, and young Ian was with me, and I'm standing outside, and the rain's going sideways.
It's that bad. It's going.
And I'm actually doing a live to video in my members group saying, listen guys, I think we'll need to and as I said, we need to cancel this. Lightning streaked across behind me, and I was like, I'm out here, I'm in. I've had no luck with the outdoor classes, although Ross did one outdoors on the last Wednesday before we finished for Christmas in fog. It was foggy outside. It was -3.
What?
And there was 18 adults training outdoors in that. But they were dressed like Eskimos. So you looked out, all you could see was, have you ever seen South Park, Kenny? So they were all outside. Dressed like Kenny, and I'm like, there's something wrong with you people. I love karate. I'm a geek. I love karate, but that I draw the line.
That's a step too far.
Yeah, I don't like cold.
No, I don't do cold. No, I'm not. I know. I want to retire somewhere nice and warm.
Just kind of touching on being back. Obviously, our first episode. If you've not heard it, listen to our first episode. Yeah, we were talking about kind of teaching online and the kind of benefits or the cons. Also, one of the benefits we had teaching online was we were training in front of the camera and we felt better for it. Now that you're back indoors, how are you still training in front of the class, or are we going back to our old kind of teaching, walking around, assisting, demonstrating maybe 1 or 2 moves? How different is it now being back indoors, Mark?
Obviously, I've mentioned I've changed my diet now, so yeah, I feel great. Yeah, I've been a bit lazy. I've sort of stood in the corner and sort of conducted the class, mainly shouting, and then I, demonstrated and then told them to go back in the line and then shouted a bit more. And it's nice to do that. Like I say, it's been so many months where it's just been you and the camera and bouncing around. And yeah, it's just good to be back. It's good to be back. Like I say, it's not completely back, so we're waiting for my over 18s to come, and they're still online, still streaming those. But it is really good, and I'm just really happy. Just changing the subject slightly, just moving on. But with these guys like trialists and stuff like that, they're all coming in, and it's just all coming back, which is great. It was something I was really worried about. But it's been good. But going back to the original question, what about you, Liam?
I tell you what, honestly, for a couple.
Have you changed your diet? Sorry, that was the question.
Yeah. I train constantly, unfortunately. I have to, because if I stop, I won't be able to eat. I'll just grind to a halt.
That's because you're
All
old.
I'm having fight is space. Not because I'm a fit. Like, what's wrong with you people? When you've got a class, the way my dojo is structured, I don't have much space.
Oh my God, you just killed Mark.
Went down the wrong road.
So, it's so childish. Yeah, but no, I have been doing stuff for the class. I have been kind of training along as best I can. And when I've got the kind of young, I'm taking the young kiddies class just now. And if you don't, they just start hanging off the lampshades. So you need to constantly keep them moving and keep them training. Yeah. I'm doing training outside. But one thing that happened to me during I know we're going back over it again. I didn't realise until kind of towards the end of the last lockdown, because the way my camera and stuff was set up in the dojo, I was always demonstrating left leg forward. Right, so I was training left leg forward. I was just doing my demonstration work, and then I happened to do stuff off my right side, and I was like, really stiff. I can't really move here. My hip's not working at all. And I went, oh my God, because I just spent the entire last 4 months left leg forward doing all my demo work. So that's it. Right hand was brilliant. Right hand Yakuzuki was fantastic. No problem. Other side, it was like, oh my God. So that was that kind of snuck up on me. But no, I've kept training. I'm going to keep training. I need to keep training. I'm in the process of kind of building a trip to Japan for next year. So I'm hoping to maybe show that on the channel. Me suffering, me covered in Raljecks and full of ibuprofen training for
Tiger Balm.
On a Tiger Balm and sake in Japan. So I'm kind of planning to go the first 3 weeks in January, God willing. Everything's all right. So I plan to go over to the dojo and train in Japan for 3 weeks at the start of January, and I'll maybe document my misery.
That'd be good
for everybody there. So I need to maintain, because you can't rock up there. I haven't trained for 6 months because you'll last a class. But yeah, well, good. Any funny stories from you guys being back at it? Anything you found challenging?
I've got mine out. I'm noticing that my students, they're not kiaing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think because obviously they're on mute.
Yeah. And
they're not shouting randomly at a TV. Now they've come back, it's quite difficult to get them to not kiai. So I've noticed that. But I've had a couple of funny things happen. I mean, I've had one or two trialists come in a bit crazy. Taking all my flyers and turning them into paper airplanes and flying them around the room. I've had little bits like that, but nothing major. Huh?
Were they good paper airplanes?
They were good, yeah. They were good. They were expensive paper airplanes, yeah.
Who is it did that? I was in a sports centre teaching, and the instructor and the other instructor in the venue picked up all my flyers and stuck them in the bin.
Yeah.
Do you remember, Sean? It was down in South Ayrshire.
Yeah.
And he literally took my posters off the wall and all sorts. Yes. No, what about you, Sean? Any challenges? Any crazy children making paper airplanes?
No, more so. My guys have been pretty good, but it's just kind of like, obviously we're not allowed any kind of parents in to spectate and stuff. And for the guys that are already signed up, that's perfectly fine, But for all the kind of new guys coming in, a lot of the younger ones, they need kind of the mum and dad there just until the class starts, kind of thing, which was always never a problem before. The parent was always sitting at the side of the class. So, but yeah, so they've been great. As I said, I've not had any challenges, to be honest. It was more so just to kind of set up, getting there early and setting up and kind of cleaning between classes, making sure everybody's all right, temperature checks before they go in. And but yeah, I've not, kind of starting back, I've not had any, to be honest. Obviously, during online, I had more challenges, kicking walls and stuff, and falling over falling over the carpet. But yeah, as soon as I finished my online classes, the wife has had the living room ceiling replastered. the carpet's going to get fixed. It's going to the whole living room's getting an uplift. She's waiting 6 months to get the living room done. So, the carpet, obviously training on the carpet, it just kept beveling up, So, but no, I wouldn't say I had any kind of problems, to be fair.
So what's your kind of plans for the rest of the year then? How are we going to do this? And this is a conversation. I want your advice. How are we going to rebuild this year? How are we going to? There's competitions hopefully coming in for the end of the year. How do we get the enthusiasm back for our guys? Get them wanting to compete again? How do we rebuild? How do we do this going forward? How can we turn around what has been the horrific 14 months for all of us, and then take it forward and make the rest of this year belter? How do we do it? Please tell me.
I think.
Tell me, Mark. You've got an English accent. You sound like you know what you're talking about.
Yes, I do. I don't know. Not really. I think everyone's excited. Everyone's excited to be back. Glad to be back. I think the online sessions and stuff like that. They were okay, but my lot really, and including me, we're all glad to be back. And I think what's great as well, if it was with the news and the media, it's mainly positive. For a period of time, it was all negative, and that's on the positive. Down here we've got the roadmap. I know you've got something similar up there, and I think with what, speaking previously in the lockdown, you can't really look too far ahead because there is always setbacks and stuff like that. But we're all just looking positive forwards at the minute. We've got 21st of June. They're on about loads of coronavirus restrictions lifting and stuff like that. And I mean, we are training towards competitions. We are doing stuff like that. But I've got some in my diary. I've got some courses that in our diary and stuff that lined up. Just got to hopefully get some bodies there and people training. So
there's definitely there's rumblings of domestic competitions kicking off kind of towards the end of the year. So there's the major ones. So
yeah,
I speak to somebody today who was telling me about that. So there is. So I've been quite negative. I've decided to be positive going forwards. I'm just planning on the way out here. So I'm rebuilding my kind of competition guys, getting them training and aiming towards tournament, rebuilding the classes, getting it back to it, and finding my normal again when I'm coaching.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, I found last week I was finding my feet. And also with the challenge of, these are all positive things, of also so many, I've had a lot of new trialists coming in, new members coming in the last week. They're trying to balance. I know you guys are the same. You get new people coming in, so you're trying to look after them. Plus, you've got looking after your other guys. But
yeah,
so these are all good things. So no, I'm going to start to write out my diary for the end of the year, assuming, touch wood, that everything's going to be on the up and up. I mean, I don't think I do think there might be another challenge. My gut instinct, and I'm going to say this, I've been right most of the time.
Don't you say anything negative now.
Is that we're on our way out now, and that I think there might be challenges coming up ahead, but I think the chances of a full lockdown again are very, very slim. I know I've said it. You heard it here first, folks. Sean's gone again. Sean's off. Somebody's at Sean's door or something. Sean's back. Who was at your door, Sean?
It was the teenager that's not at school today because it's voting.
It's that kebab man, isn't it? I've told him to deliver up there.
No, it's just sorry, that was my daughter just asking a couple of questions. But yeah, no, the same as you said. Sorry, let me finish off what you're saying.
No, I'm just saying that's my plan. So I'm writing my diary for the end of the year. I'm assuming that I've used it, although in Scotland our roadmap is different. I'm assuming the kind of 21st of June idea is kind of going to be universal. So I can't see if travel between the four nations is allowed. I can't see it not being. People are going to travel up to Scotland for holidays. We're going to travel down south. I can't see that. Well, as soon as you can go over this border, you can only be 2 meters apart. I mean, I just can't see that.
No.
So I think the vaccine thing is really going to take over and kind of push that out the road. I'm looking forward to actually sparring and actually adults making contact. I don't mean it like that. I mean in a committee-based environment. Well, that came out.
We didn't mean it in any other way. So.
Definitely not, mate. Let's be frank here. I'd be grateful for a cuddle at this point in my life. Just grateful for any affection or anything else. But yeah, no, I'm kind of positive. I think we'll be. I'm planning into club championships. Coming out of summer, I'm planning my gradings as normal. So yeah, it's just getting back into routine. I think I forgot my routine.
Yeah.
I'm the same. I mean, I tell you, I don't know if you boys were the same, but my first couple of sessions back, I was nervous. I felt a bit like, whoa. Like, what is this, people? You know, I've used to been seeing people on a screen and being on my own in my garage, and then now I've got like a class in front of me, and they're actually moving. You know, it's almost. I was pretty nervous. I was pretty like, oof. Did you feel that? Or did you have that? Or
yeah, no, definitely. As I said, it was, as you both kind of touched on it, was more getting back to teaching in front of people again, not just in front of the camera from your living room. You know, yeah, I was the same. I was very conscious to make sure that we were doing all like guidelines properly. You know, I see so many clubs not. When I was doing outdoor karate, I seen so many clubs, not just karate clubs. There was other karate, taekwondo, and fitness, tennis. There was loads of stuff in the park, and it was great to see. It was especially, we got lucky, to be honest. My outdoors was the weekend, and we had nice weather the last month. We didn't get caught in any.
Was that our summer, Sean?
Yeah, that was our summer. That month.
Summer, we had 2 days, and Sean got it.
So yeah, I got kind of lucky, but it was you've seen other clubs not following any of the restrictions, so we've been very conscious, and I know you guys have as well, making sure that any over 12s are coming in, they've got a mask on, they're all sanitising, temperature check, keeping distance if they need to keep distance. And yeah, I think I found that very difficult, because obviously that's kind of extra work. Obviously it's a necessity, and I wouldn't want it any other way, but yeah, I felt very conscious of making sure that we were checking all the boxes, you know.
My first community class last week, I found it difficult.
Yeah,
because you're suddenly seeing, although they're allowed to, and you're working within the regulations, and you're doing it all right, and obviously we've got a machine at the door, that we've got a robot at the door, doesn't let you in if you have a fever. Actually, it nags you. Those you've been to dojo, Sean.
Yeah,
it's quite passive aggressive. It doesn't let you pass unless you do your temperature check. So I know that like people in there, and a lot of the kind of teenagers are doing their lateral flow tests. So as coaches, are doing our lateral flow tests. And even although we knew all that was in play, and I knew we'd done it right, and the rooms fogged down and sanitized, and I was watching them spar. You know, you can explode, bang, bang. I'm just watching them, because I watched them break the distance.
Yeah, past the 2 meters.
You know, from 2 meters to contact distance, and I'm like, ooh, are they breathing out at each other? It's the weirdest way we've been programmed the last year. So, yeah. But we've got to let them get back to it, and I need to kind of let them get back to it, and let them get them trained. You want to keep it. I don't think there's anything else I can do to make it safer, other than disinfecting the children when they come in, which I did check the bottle, but apparently you can't do that. I did read it, and you know, apparently they shouldn't be doing that. But a couple of parents were quite happy with it. I did suggest it to some of the parents, but that I found just watching, like you kind of said the other week, Mark, when you're doing kind of basic training or kind of kata training, you're all going in one direction, and it's quite controlled, and the environment's controlled. But with committee drills, no. You know, they're scrapping, you know.
Do you still use that fogging machine, Liam?
Yes, I still use the fogging machine.
Do you?
So, yes. If anybody's looking for that content, next episode, we will share a video of...
Can I just say something here, that Mark is very good at sharing these things, because Mark has nothing. We have nothing on Mark. I have many things on Mark, but nothing I can share here. But there are... There's nothing on video. I do things for a laugh and I giggle, and I get chastised for it. I have to say though, that the lowest watch we've had is thankfully that 30-minute video of me when I was dressed as an inflatable dinosaur. That has the least watches on our channel.
Has that been out of the wardrobe since, is it? Or
it's in the bin. I actually binned it. I've cleared out the room. And it's gone. It had a puncture. Its tail wouldn't inflate. It's an age thing, mate. It's just one of those things. Yeah. So, yes. Thanks, Mark. No, I've got 2 fogging machines.
Okay.
Yes, I've got 2 fogging machines, one for each venue, which is costing a fortune in disinfectant, by the way, 'cause it's specific disinfectant. If you buy the wrong disinfectant, it turns into a flamethrower. So you have to, which in fairness, I'm fairly sure will kill COVID too. But I'm not sure how the insurance company will deal with that.
That sounds more fun.
What's Sensei doing? No, I don't. We're not there yet. Zombie apocalypse, maybe, but we're not quite there yet. But yes, that actually says on it, you've got to be careful, or it could be flammable. No flammable liquids, because it heats it, superheats it. So I'm not going to try it, even for a video.
I've got a question to both of you, and I might regret it a little bit. Let's say, touch wood, June the 21st, the guidance changes, and we don't need to. All the rules are scrapped. You don't need to worry about everything. Are you still going to keep some stuff in place? Are you going to keep, the temperature checks, hand sanitizer, 2 fogging machines? What are you going to do? Are you going to keep them?
For me, the one thing that's, when you said that, the one thing that does stick out, if we don't need any temperature checks, the booking system makes it, for me, having booking students in, obviously it's a little bit of kind of inconvenience for the parents and for us to set up the classes and stuff, but again, just knowing who comes and making sure that so we can plan your classes and stuff. So just to make good. Sorry, it's just sometimes sometimes you catch one of it.
So childish.
Yeah, we shouldn't be allowed to do stuff like this. So yeah, I like the booking system, and the temperature checks and the sanitizer is not. It's not.
We broke Sean. We try and break Sean most episodes. We try and break him because he's gone. Are you okay, Sean?
Yes, I'm fine.
What about you, Liam? Whilst Sean's just recovering there.
It's great fun. Honestly, folks, you need to try it. It's great. I don't know. The booking system, if I don't have to take bookings, I won't take bookings anymore. And because I'd rather have the free flow of students.
Yeah.
Because I'm lucky in the fact I've got a venue, I don't need to structure it quite. Does that make sense? I've got different classes, different days. So we run maybe 20, 22 sessions a week. So I like the kind of thing we really had to, as a club, was that you could pick different days and you could kind of come in and go as it suits your routine. So I don't know if I'm going to keep the bookings as such, unless it's maybe community-based classes, or obviously you can't cram them then. Things like the disinfectant and all the rest of it, the fog in the place down, I probably keep that for a few reasons, one of which the place smells better. No, we didn't clean it before, I hasten to add. But it's the fact that just honestly just keeps the place, as we always, we've got a cleaner and we clean the place down and do all the bits and bobs that need to be done, but it's just more hygienic.
Yeah.
And you've got those things in place now, so why wouldn't you use them? That a temperature machine, I don't know. Yes, because I spent a bloody fortune on it. Yeah, I'm kind of loath to stick it in the bin after there's a story about that. We bought one last year. Anybody that knows me, I always go OTT with that kind of thing. So it was quite an expensive bit of kit. It wasn't the kind of gun at the forehead, because I wanted to take out the human element, because one, you're putting a coach in a position where he had to refuse a student. You also were putting a person in close proximity to somebody that might have had COVID. So I bought this bit of kit there's a face scanner and wrist temperature thing, and it cost a few quid. And what it does is you go in and it literally takes your photograph, and then you put your wrist on it, takes your temperature. If it flashes red, it saves your photograph, asks you to wait outside for 5 minutes. Then you come in, and if you're still showing signs of fever, it tells you to leave. So I was like, right, we're doing this to the nth degree, and it cost a few quid. It was well over £1,000 for this bit of kit. So my second venue's finally opened. Okay, my second venue finally got opened. And I thought, I'm going to get another one of those, because they don't want... not all my students, where my other club is, it's a bit of a distance from the main dojo is, so I don't want them thinking they're paying for... They'll get the same quality, if that makes sense. So I went on to the company, and it was a third of the price.
They're not
But English people, honestly, Scottish people are not that tight. But when you've spent like that amount of money and a bit of kit, and then you go on and it was a third the price, there was many swear words.
I might buy one now that a third of the price.
I was not a happy man.
Or just buy his. He's not gonna use
for sale. I've got two. You can have one. So I think I'll maybe keep that going.
Yeah.
What I found was, did you ever, when you took somebody's temperature, have it flash red?
Yes.
Ooh, did you?
Yes. Mark, do you want to go first, and then I'll follow if you want?
Yeah. I found, right, and when I did like I think what was important is you have good communication with your parents. So I did a video and explaining about how people should come in the dojo, but sometimes a little bit tricky. So I was getting like the little ones running up to the dojo doors. But what I found was if they had their fringe down like this, it sort of kept a bit of temperature there. So when they lift their fringe back and you went blip, blip, with the gun, it would say something nuts like 41 degrees or something like that. So you're then like, well, you can't come in because your temperature. So you like go and stand outside, and this is like November sort of time. They're standing out in the rain. So yeah, then I sort of give it 5 minutes, and then obviously scan them again, and they come back. But lucky enough, I haven't had to refute. Their temperatures come back to normal. I haven't had to tell them to go. But go on, Sean. What?
Yeah, so I had the similar idea. So the student came up and took his temperature, and I've got one of the handheld guns, and it nearly exploded. It was like, I'm really sorry. Just wait a few minutes, and I tried his temperature again, and it was still flashing red. And I'm like, oh, right, okay. I was like, if you want to go stand over there, and the dad was already walking away by that point, and I was like, excuse me, you need to come back. And he came back. He wasn't like away, but just because he assumed everything was okay, as it has been. Student trained a couple of times already that week. So I stood at the side for a few minutes. And he's like, what's up? And I was like, his temperature's well past. It was like 41, 42 or something. And it was flashing red. And he's like, oh, right, okay. I was like, just wait a few minutes. I'll get the rest of the students in. So he stood kind of over the side away for the entrance. And the rest of the students coming in, and they were checking fine. So it wasn't the sensor. So then after a few minutes came back in and checked it, and he was perfectly fine. And I was like, so I don't know why he said. He's like, oh, he was sitting in the car for 10 minutes before the class with the hot air blowing in his face. Just blowing hot air in his face. So when he came to do his temperature checking, he was red.
Baking the boy.
Is it that cold in Scotland? Is it that you got to do things like that?
It was November times, to be fair. So he's sitting in the car before the class, and the dad's like, oh, he stuck the hot air on. He was playing about with it when I was doing some work, and he stuck the hot air on just on his side of the car, and he was blowing hot air into his head. So when I took his temperature, it was like 42 and a half. So yeah, I've not had anybody that's continuously, and I've had to send them home. I've had
the look of fear, but everybody goes up to this machine, and it kind of goes up and goes. They start to panic, so I think it acted as a good deterrent.
Yeah, I've had parents say, "Oh, so and so doesn't feel well. I'm going to leave them off just in case," and they've been fine. So,
do you remember training before? And this, I don't know if this will ever happen again. I know maybe not you, Sean, but Mark, when you were used to train, Mark, and
I'm worried where this is going to go now.
No. And you used to, if you had a cold or you felt rough, you'd go because you were going to get a slagging. If you didn't go, you're going to get a hard time if you didn't go to training. Do you think that'll ever happen again?
Yeah, I think once it kind of, I used to enjoy training with a cold. You see, by the end of it, you felt.
Here's the reason. I always had a bloody cold.
No, I was never anyway. Yeah, it was always good. So, after a good kind of training session, you feel better. So,
but everybody else in the class has influenza.
I never had the flu. Just a blocked nose.
I think your question stems with many things. I mean, I remember at work many a times you'd be working away, and one of the staff would come in and they'd be like, "Oh, I feel rough. Oh, I feel this," and you're like, "Why are you here? Like, why are you here?" Like now, I mean, sometimes with the mask, sometimes they make like my throat a little bit dry, and I might have a little bit of a coughing fit or something like that. And people are like looking at you like, "Oh, you got COVID," sort of thing.
That's not that's the kebabs you keep wolfing down that's causing that.
It's just chili in the kebab. Yeah, I'm definitely going to get to ask him when he turns up later. If he can
if he sponsors
the next one.
Honestly, we've just been adapting, haven't we? Just getting back to it. I think we're still finding our feet. I think we're still kind of, we're speaking to other instructors as well, and they're just the same, just slowly finding our feet again and getting there's that fear, although it's all good in the news, there's that fear that the rug's going to get pulled out again, isn't there? But I've just decided I'm going to be positive for a change, lads. I'm going to be positive.
Good.
Good on you, Liam. Yeah, I think I feel like I'm definitely more busier. That's the only thing, only negative thing I'd say. I feel like I'm a lot more busier because I have to do more classes because I'm limited to numbers. Yeah. But then I'm really happy because I've got loads of students coming in, and it's good.
It's not a real job. Like,
yeah, but I
have a real job.
Yeah, I have a day job. Yeah, and then I'm a ninja at night.
You're a ninja at night. That's not the night. Is that ninja? So there's some guy in a black key running about looting with a kebab, throwing kebabs at people at 2 a.m. I'd pay good money to see. We need to get a course going, and then you come in dressed as a ninja throwing kebabs at the students. I think we could pack that course, boys.
Mate, yeah, there's many things I'll do for a kebab.
All right, well, it's been nice to get a wee catch up. That's it's more like a catch up, see how you're doing, how you've coped. Now we're all back at it. Yeah. We've got a cracking interview with Alan Cambell Sensei. Nice, very, very humble chap. Yeah. It was nice to get a wee chat to him and get to know him. So his interview kind of follows on from this. We hope you enjoy it. Please take your time to, as always, like, comment, and share. As long as it's positive. If it's negative, just keep your trap shut. Thank you very much to Sean and Mark for their time and effort. And Mark made me want a kebab. And for Sean for buckling under pressure once more. It's always a pleasure. All right, guys, we'll get this up over the weekend, and we'll catch up next week. And thank you very much.
Thanks,
guys.
Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Off for a kebab now.
Hi guys, how you doing? Welcome back to That Karate Podcast. Today we have Mark. Say hello, Mark. Good. And Liam. Hello, Liam. And we have Alan Cambell Sensei, head of JKS England. Thank you, Sensei, for joining us today. What I'm going to do, just quickly run through a couple of your achievements. Just to get started, we like to kind of go through the achievements of every guest that we have, and then we'll go to Mark for a wee question. But firstly, how are you doing, Sensei? How are you? How you been?
Yeah, fine, thanks. Yeah, just saying, going through a list of achievements, so not take long. You best pad it out a little bit with something else.
I disagree. Sorry, I disagree. I've got quite an extensive list here. I'm not sure. Is it okay to say when you started training, Sensei? Is it?
Oh, nice. Yeah, sure. No, I started in 77/78.
Yeah,
that's 1970s.
Yeah. Yes, I've got 1970 here at Inverness Karate Club. Sensei, is that okay? Yeah. And throughout your kind of career, you've graded and trained with some top Japanese instructors: Kato Sensei, Asai Sensei, and obviously Kagawa Sensei, Shihan as well, throughout the years. And just recently in 2017, you're Nanadan Sensei, so congratulations. As well as kind of grading and training, you've also had an extensive competition career as well. From here, competing for Scotland at the JKA Worlds in Dubai. We also have representing Great Britain and Scotland in the World Championships in South Africa, Moscow, Las Vegas. You seem to have been around the world competing, so that must have been interesting and fun, Sensei.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like when you read the list that there's that I use, and you say extensive competition career, it's it was great fun, but it was never the thing that I was solely focused on.
Yeah.
So all the things I ever did competitively were just as a result of being involved in karate and just loving what I did and doing what I was told as well. I was told I had to do something, and if that was competing, then you did it. So.
Oh,
yeah.
fantastic. We're going to get started off. Mark's going to start us off with the questions. All right, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, Alan Sensei, for joining us today. We're just really excited to find out a little bit about you. So I'm just going to kickstart it straight away. How long have you been training for? And I mean, what keeps you motivated? When did you start? Just let us know. How did you start?
Yeah, well, touched on that. I think I probably started off a little bit too soon there with Sean, but in answer to the question, it's I think if it's 77/78, and I say that because it was sort of unofficial, like a lot of people have done. They've sort of dabbled, outside an official club and stuff. So that was in 77 when I was being hit a lot by my brother. He had joined the club because he was old enough, I wasn't. And he used to come home and practice on me. Lots of people have experienced that. You've been told by a brother or whatever to just to put your hand here or do this or do that, and then they'll proceed to whack you around the room, practicing what they'd be like. So that was kind of, that was 77. So 78. That puts, I think it's about 43 years, 44, something like that.
Nice.
So what
keeps you motivated, Sensei? I mean, say 43 years. I mean, how have you kept going, and what's kept you motivated?
I think I've just lost my motivation by saying those numbers. I mean, over that amount of time, I don't think it can be one thing that keeps you motivated. It's different things at different times, probably. Touching on the competitive side of things, I guess at a stage of your life, after you've come up through to, into whatever, first dan, second dan, those motivations become so much further apart in years, with the ability to grade. The other things then take over, and so things like competing, all different things throughout the years. But I guess for quite a long time now, since 2003-ish, so that's like 17 years, something like that. It's been about building an organization, I suppose, promoting and building, and with the JKS, really, I suppose that's my motivation.
Oh.
Nice.
Well, it takes it neatly onto my question. So obviously, 2003, JKS England was formed.
Sorry, just say that again.
So what was the year that JKS England was formed?
You're looking at 2003, 2004.
That must have been quite a challenging time after the split, and then the new organisation being built, and you kind of headlining England. So how far do you think that it's come since then? So you've also taken it from a situation where it was a new federation essentially, and built it. It's got longevity. It's lasted all these years. Many have flamed in and flamed out in that time. How far have you seen it come? How's it, as you say, you've kept motivated with the association? How has building the association kept you motivated?
It's a good question, actually, Liam. When I think back, when we sort of first got it off the ground, it was in England. There was so small, and so in the background for a lot of people. A lot of people didn't know what it was. You had to constantly explain where it had come from. And like my club at the time was the major club within the federation. I did have a big club at the time. I was independent at that time, and saw the opportunity, which was not available for about 5 years or so, from being independent to get back into not just a mainstream organization, but an organization that had people in it that meant something to me. So in particular, Kagawa Shihan. Although he wasn't at the top of he wasn't running it then, it was Asai, but I knew I had to get into it. But it was literally from, it was from nothing. There was comments made way back when about punching above your weight, and that's something that we kind of tried to do from the offset, was because we knew that the product was good, if you will, because of the Japanese connection, but we needed to make it look good in this country. So when we organized events, we organized them as big as we could.
Yeah.
And like the promotional kind of stuff was always like, it was always the best that we could get, the best that we could do. And bringing over instructors, and that was kind of a problem, in the sense that these things had to be paid for.
Of course.
Yeah.
There was no way an organization with hardly any members could pay for anything. So there was a lot of pacing up and down in my living room, worrying about things. We had courses that we held, with like residential courses that had massive costs up front, and the name at the top of the invoice was mine. If it didn't come through, if it didn't work, then the bills still had to be paid.
Yeah.
So I kind of compartmentalize that a little bit now, and try not to think about it, or I don't think about it too much. But it was very, very difficult at the beginning, doing things in magazines, columns, like any time to do an interview or anything like that, anything to promote. I guess we were a thorn in the side of some of the more established organizations. And I guess, we might have gone away, but we didn't, because the JKS ultimately is a well-established federation in Japan, and anyone that knows the politics will know it's come through the JKA. So that side of it was always going to be okay, but the running of it in the early days was difficult. Now it kind of runs itself in a way. If you're involved in karate, then you know who the JKS is. So it's a lot different now, a lot easier.
Yeah.
That's a good journey to go through, because you've gone through the struggles at the start. You had to lay down the infrastructure, put everything into place. As you say, again, these are the things you don't think of for the people that head associations, or are the kind of the ones on the front line. I'd rather walk into traffic than head an association, I'll be honest with you. But because you've got all the personality politics as well, people coming in and all the rest of it. No, I don't think the boys will tell you I'm not very good at that stuff. So I don't know how you managed to do that, but you managed to build it up over that time scale, and it's, as you say, it's now one of the major players in the UK. So you've got to have a sense of pride in that, and that kind of achievement.
Absolutely. When I left which was the JKA Asai faction, which was when Kato Sensei formed the IJKA, and I without going into any stories and things, I needed to leave. I couldn't exist within the organization, and part of that was about opportunity, and that to me is quite important. And when I was independent and I built my club to a very successful kind of numbers level, but ability level as well, was that I promised my students that I would give them every opportunity possible, and what in return all they had to do was work hard. So if they gave me their sort of physical energy and input, I would sort everything else out. And that's where things like you mentioned at the beginning about Las Vegas, that's where that came about. And I took quite a lot of guys there, a lot like teenagers and late teens, you know, I think about 15 altogether. And for a 10-day trip, I think it cost them £50 each. And the only reason it cost them that was because the people involved in all the fundraising, etc., for it thought that a token gesture was appropriate, not that we needed to charge it, but just as a token gesture towards the fact that they were being subsidized to go. And you know, that, and lots of other things like that as well. When I was independent, you know, taking the guys all over Portugal, Germany, and I kind of thought that was an ethos that I would take into the JKS as well, which is, for me, it's about opportunity and keeping an organization free of politics as much as possible. I can't stand it. I really can't stand politics. I don't like this sit round a table with a shirt and tie on and talk about karate. I prefer to do karate and then talk about things after you've done it. So, you know, like meetings after training sessions I think are much better than, you know.
Just a meeting for the meeting's sake. Yeah, just to prove you can tie a tie.
Yeah, I like to think that the JKS is an opportunity-based organisation.
Well, I mean, I don't want to fly the flag too much from our side of it, but that's when Sean and I certainly came across. I know we're north of the border, but that was the word that we used, wasn't it, Sean? It was when you look at it and how it's structured, etc. So we're turning this an advert for JKS. So you can,
yes.
The four of us are, so it just is. But yeah, as you say, opportunity, and it's about not holding your students back. And I think a good instructor should do that. It's about giving the best for your students. So.
Yeah,
we did say that. We did say that. I think that was on episode 1 or 2 when we did say that it's you know, opportunities for your students, and is that, yeah.
That's your first responsibility.
Yeah, well, definitely. That was a kind of.
Sean, onto your question, Sean.
Yeah, so now you've kind of gives us a wee bit of background, kind of how the JKS England was formed. Sensei, we're just wondering now, what can the JKS offer? Obviously, there's so many opportunities, as you said. If you tend to kind of just elaborate a little bit on the opportunities, if possible.
They are countless, countless opportunities. I think on the shopping list for people that do karate, the number one thing on the shopping list, I think, should be the quality of the karate that's being taught. That sometimes isn't the case for people. There's things that are, you know, that comes down the list a little bit for some reason, but the single biggest opportunity is the chance to train with the best karate in the world, and I don't make any bones about it. I believe that the JKS headquarters instructors are the best in the world. There's world-class instructors in every organization, but for me, the JKS headquarters has a plethora of instructors. Long established instructors and ones that are coming through as well, and they're coming through all the time. So there's that opportunity to train with them, to go there on trips like you guys have well, certainly Liam and Sean.
Liam goes regularly. He's having withdrawal symptoms. He usually goes like 3 times a year.
It's crazy, isn't it? How with the pandemic that you just. I've got itchy feet as well. So, but we take the instructors over here. You can like instructors in clubs that can put their hand up and they can say, could I have someone like Yamaguchi Sensei in my dojo when he's over here doing, say, an autumn seminar? Yes, you can. Can I have X, Y, and Z from the headquarters? It's absolutely possible that you can have a high-ranking or a world champion karateka in your dojo. If you teach in a church hall or you teach in a sports center or you have your own purpose-built building, any which way you can have it. You ask, and chances are you get. So that's something that's not always available everywhere. What else is there? And when you grade, the grades that you get are legitimate, bona fide grades.
Yeah.
You have to, like when you do your downgradings, you have to grade for them. There's no grades that are given out, and I think that there's such a credibility that goes along with that. A piece of paper doesn't make you good at karate, but if you're doing good karate, it's nice to be recognized for it and recognized correctly for it as well. There's a competitive side to the JKS, JKS Scotland, JKS England, where we have squads that are keen to get out there and on the world stage, not local tournaments, big world tournaments. And I know that JKS Scotland have got some great guys coming up, and they're world ranked.
Oh, Sean, not you, Sean. I'm just waved there, not you, Sean.
I'm joking.
You're the water boy.
Well,
or the punch bag. I'm better at a punch bag, to be fair.
there's something come up on my screen. What's that all about? Can I just have a look at it?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Oh no, it's just something to do with Zoom. I don't know what that was.
It'll be like my laptop. It likes to update at random times of the day.
I was there last week. It just updated. It was great fun.
Yeah, so the competition side of things, that's an opportunity thing. We've got a squad that's run by Matt Price, who I believe you're having on at some point soon.
Yes.
So we'll be talking quite heavily about the competitive side of things and running the squad and stuff like that. But there's great opportunities there, and again, it's one of my things where I want to be able to provide that. If you want to compete, then I want you to compete with the best. I want you to have the best coaches, and I want you to have the best opportunities to get out there and test yourself against the best that is there. There's no point testing yourself there's not in a local tournament. That's at an appropriate time, yes, but if you can't just keep doing local tournaments and things. It's my phone. Switch that right off. I better unmute it. It's got the opportunity to have the best karate to learn from, the opportunity for instructors to be the best that they can be, the opportunity for competitors to be the best that they can be, and then also the opportunity for the hobby karateka. You know, not everyone wants to be a world champion. Some people just enjoy training. So cultivating an atmosphere of inclusivity and a feeling of family, which is really important for me, I think, is that people feel they're part of something. And that's one of the things that the JKS does really well worldwide, is that it's called the JKS family, the worldwide JKS family. And it is like that because everybody cares about everybody else. You know, we have relationships with, you know, instructors, senior instructors, and students have relationships with students all throughout the world, connecting with each other and caring about how they're getting on, particularly when you look at the pandemic as well, and the sort of the way that things were tied in with like with the headquarters and Paul Jean Andrea Sensei from Scotland, you know, putting a platform together to help the headquarters help everyone else, and with lots and lots of you know, like weekly almost training sessions, and you see all the different countries coming in and training, and everyone's waving and saying hello and waving goodbye, and it's really, you know, that's great. That's that's kind of like the JKS mantra is family and karate for all.
Yeah. Just kind of touching on that, Sensei, we were lucky enough to go to Dublin for the JKS Worlds a couple of years ago. Usually I've been lucky as well, my personally previous associations, to be at a couple of other World Championships. But when we got to the JKS one, there was that family friendly feeling. Usually when you're suited up and ready to spar, everybody else is growling at you and try to you know, intimidate you, whereas it wasn't like that with the JKS. You know, obviously the competition was a high standard, but everybody was so friendly, even the people you were competing with, and that was from all over the world. And I think just kind of touching on that point, that's the way I felt anyway, being at the World Championships. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. There's nothing better than beating someone. There's nothing better than beating them well. So if you can put your foot around someone's face and win, it's absolutely the best thing. But the ability to shake hands, to have a laugh and a joke with the person that did it to you or you did to them, you know, it's without that, it's a kind of dark kind of thing, you know. I think that, like, karate is about respect, and you need to respect your opponents. You need to respect, you know, the referees, etc. And I think that makes it. You know, there's instances where you can be hit really hard. I remember years ago. It was in Switzerland, I think. So it had been a European. I got. It was actually there was a guest. There was the Japanese were allowed to compete in the European Championships, believe it or not, as a special as a special treat for us. 30 really hot mustard university. I think they would probably take you, or I'm not sure, but this lad put his. I was going quite well through the rounds. And this lad, he put a Chudan Moshigeri into me and he cracked my ribs. And the Japanese lad. And I went to find him after, not to do anything other than shake his hand and say that was just brilliant. And he was very apologetic. And I was very grateful for the opportunity to get kicked in the ribs, because it was, you know, I didn't want my ribs broken, or cracked, but you know, it's that there's an appreciation of that someone did something. It wasn't nasty. It was just really high level, and you got caught. And that's you know, that family feel, if you will. You can be as competitive as you like, but always come together afterwards and you know, be good to each other.
Well, what Sean was saying about that trip, that what stood out for me for that trip was actually the sayonara party, and not the drinking bit. It was when Kagawa Shihan came in, and there was some young boys and girls that were there as they came in the door, and they were just looked at with such adulation, and they wanted to and he danced with them for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So the boss was standing with these young boys and girls on a wee circle, and they were all kind of dancing away, and I went, I have never seen anything like that in my life ever.
Yeah.
It was actually a bit of a culture shock in a way to kind of see that. They weren't kind of palmed off or given a kind of just a quick smile. Yeah. It's just that's what we would be members for a few years at that point, but that's a moment that stood out for me in that weekend, and it kind of clicks in with the ethos you're saying there about kind of family.
There's lots of moments like that. There's a thing we go to, or we were going to Japan to do kangeku, which is the week-long training. Like it's 7 a.m. running and out in the streets of Tokyo, and then back to the dojo and training, and then back at night time training in the that's not kangeku, but you're back training at night time. The morning part is kangeku. It lasts for 7 days, and on the 7th day they have a party, and you get presented with a certificate if you do the whole thing and stuff like that, and the party just kind of appears from nowhere. All the tables are set out. The headquarters instructors, the junior instructors are all setting up everything, and parents are coming in of kids and things, and all the kids are coming in, and we give them presents, and we all sit around talking to each other, and there's obviously beer and stuff going as well, and everyone gets involved, and it's so nice. Like, it's a hard week. Training's hard. There's no instruction in kangeku, for example. It's just, this is what we're doing. Different instructor each morning. This is what we're doing, and you just crack on and you do it. There's no break. There's not one. Well, there might be 1 second or 2 seconds or 3 seconds of break, but it's really, it's on it from beginning to end. By the time you come to 7 days, you're feeling quite, some people break physically and emotionally. After it all, it's all laughs and jokes and, having a nice time with a party at the end of it. It's great.
When is the kangeku, just so I can avoid it?
Yeah, end January. It's not the last week of January.
Oh, because I'm planning to go over the first 3 weeks, so they'll think I'm deliberately leaving early.
Yeah, it doesn't go down well, that kind of thing, Liam.
I'm going to go for the first 3 weeks and then come back to the end of January. All right, okay.
I'm sure you could stay one more week.
Well, it sounds a delight.
I've not really promoted that very well, have I?
No, you've not sold that to me at all, Sensei.
That's great.
Sensei, for our people who are listening now on the podcast, and for the YouTube people who are watching on YouTube, how can they join JKS? How can they join JKS?
Well, I mean, they can make an inquiry through. You can go on the website and you'll see the contact details there. So, I mean, my phone number's on there. I'll take a phone call from anybody. The email, drop an email. Just go on to just search for JKS England. You'll get the website. Just make the contact. Simple.
Is that not what you did, Mark?
Yeah, that's what I did.
I think you'd know how to do it, Mark. I'm just saying. I'm only saying it. I'm not surprised you asked Alan Sensei that when that's what you did.
It's for our listeners, so that's all people watching. So, best day I ever did, that was. So, do it.
Yeah,
there's an advert for you.
I'm a salesman too.
I'm always happy to talk to people. All I would ever say is that in the early days, we kind of looked for people to join. Now we don't go looking for people. People look for us. And if you think that the JKS is right for you, fine. I'll talk to you. But you've got to have that shopping list. You've got to have the number one thing is that you want the best karate to learn, and I believe the JKS gives that. So if that's number one on your shopping list, give us a shout. I'll speak to you.
Fantastic. Good. Gentlemen, do you have any more questions at all?
Loads, but we'd be here all day.
Yeah, we could. We as we kind of say all the time, we need to set a timer for ourselves, because we could be chatting hours on end. We do, and especially when we get guests like yourself coming on, Sensei, with such experience and obviously have trained and graded and competed with some of the top instructors and against some of the top instructors.
And see, it's still a passion, Alan Sensei,
yeah.
And that's when I think when you do something like karate and you've done it for the amount of time we have. I'll jump in there and help you out there, because I know you will too. It needs to be a passion, doesn't it? It needs to be. You don't do this for the the money, the fame, and the glamour. It's
Yeah, no, definitely not. You're absolutely right. I had a conversation just the other day, which was basically that the person I was having the conversation with was we started because we were passionate and we just completely in love with karate, and then anything about becoming professional was way down the line. It's the longest apprenticeship in the world.
Yeah.
And the fact that you become a professional and you actually can end up paying your bills through karate is a byproduct. It's so it's a building process that way. You can't take it the other way. Well, you can. People do it. They see an opportunity in martial arts and they say, oh yeah, we can make some money out of this. And as long as you're one step ahead of the students you're teaching, you're okay. But there's no sincerity. There's no longevity. There's no ability. It's got to be the passion first.
Yeah, absolutely. That drives everything else. You see, there's a lot of people. I'm not going to mention names. A lot of opportunists that have maybe seen the groups that do well and go, that's a way to make money, but it's not. They maybe only see the successful maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
What they didn't see was the 20 years behind it, building to that point. So yeah, as you say, the passion's the thing that drives you through, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep you going. That's what I tell myself every day. I get a crawl to bed. Passion, Liam, it's the passion of feeling like.
Fantastic. Awesome. Again, thank you, Sensei, for jumping on. Is there anything you want to say just before we wrap it up? And gentlemen, is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap up?
Just want to say thank you. Yeah, great interview. Really, really good. Thank you for joining us.
No, it's nice to get a bit better. It's nice to get to know you a bit better and hear your motivation and what drives you. And I hope everybody else can kind of hear it as well.
Yeah, definitely. Fantastic.
Cool.
Awesome. Right, well, guys at home, I hope you enjoyed that. Drop us a little kind of like or comment. And again, thank you very much, Alan Cambell Sensei, for your time and sharing your story. All right, and I hope you all have a lovely day, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Bye.